our test tomorrow. For permutations and combinations. And we'll get our last take-home quiz back as well today. So the strategy that we're going to use a lot for composition of functions is actually finding the explicit equation. So if I have y equals f of g of x, well, I know that g of x was 4 minus x squared. And then f, what does f do? Whatever you plug in, you add 1. So if I plugged in 4 minus x squared and added 1, my final equation is negative x squared plus 5. And then we'll review from transformations. Well, what does this graph look like? What does this do? This is a parabola that's had a vertical reflection and shifted up 5 units. It would look like that. So there's, oh, I should label 0,5. Technically, we'd always label our x-intercepts as well. They'll be plus or minus square root of 5. State the domain and range of the composite function. So the domain of this function is everything. And the range of this function is y is less than or equal to 5. Sometimes the tricky things with composition of functions, and it didn't happen in this case, but I'm going to make a note here. Sometimes it's going to happen that a question has a domain restriction early that goes away. For example, you can't square root negative numbers. And sometimes there'll be a square root early, and then you square it later and it goes away, and you feel like your final equation has no domain restrictions, but there was one earlier. So we're going to find out sometimes we're going to need to check early on that when we're doing our function at the beginning that there was no domain restrictions. This one didn't have that as a case. So then here in part B, we want to find y equals f of x. So f of x is x plus 1. No domain restrictions there. And then anything you plug into f of x, you add 1 to. So if you plug in x plus 1, you get x plus 1, which gives us x plus 2. Y-intercept of 2, x-intercept of negative 2. Domain and range are everything. And there's no domain restriction early on. So for the composition of functions, we're not going to look at the individual graphs to figure out the new graph. We're actually going to find the explicit equation and then use that explicit equation to find our domain and range. You can circle question number 4.